way. We hooked up and we got all linked in, and then we started talking about kids, and we started talking about Captain Marvel. And see, the problem is Raph and I are friends, so we'll just start talking and it won't end, and then we'll be like, oh wait, we gotta work, right? We gotta work. Crap. So
yeah, there's something that we have to do.
What? We have a job? Oh, so sorry, guys. I'd gotten kind of carried away there. Hi, Raph. Welcome to my show.
Hi, Guy. Thanks for having me.
So let's real quickly, while we're doing this, can you get into your Twitch stream and see if you can reboot this? Now that I'm doing this, because this is the time for you to figure out whether you can bump the stream. Doing this, because this is the time for you to figure out whether you can bump the stream. This is the time for you to figure out whether you can bump the stream.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no! This would be horrible.
That's hilarious.
You know, you and I have our mentality of our world, right? Because we're fighting this way.
Okay. That was weird. It was still running in the background, even though I went to a different tab.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, we got to figure that out, because if we can share it on my stream as well, that'd be really cool. But right now, no, because we get a horrible echo.
Oh, that's a bummer. We'll figure it out. We'll figure this out, because I want to get to that point. Okay. Hi, Raph. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Guy.
Hi, David. Welcome to the show.
Hi, David. I can't see comments, so you're going to have to keep me updated.
Yeah, he just said, he says, I wish I had a show. You do sort of have a show. You have our show.
Okay. Yeah, quit complaining. Why you got to be greedy?
Exactly. What? Wait a minute. I think that's sinking in now. What'd you say?
What did I say?
Yeah. It's all good. Okay. Did you ever meet David? When he was at
Maybe. You forget how bad I am with names.
Yeah.
If I see his face, I'd be like, oh, yeah. But you tell me names, and yeah, I got nothing. And I get introduced to people all the time, especially with Christina. It's bad.
Oh, yeah. I follow. You've probably met him. He's one of the guys that was with us a lot, drew clowns and really busty women. That's his shtick. He says that you met at Starbucks once. So you've met him. At least
I do know him, because it's Starbucks. If it's Starbucks, it's real.
Right. This is why there hasn't been any real stuff since like March for me.
It's hilarious.
Okay, Raph, you had to finish page 18 and start 19.
Ah, yes. You want to see something?
I do. I want to see all kinds of stuff.
All right, hold on a second. Let's try something since we figuring things.
There we go.
All right, so this is a little doodle that I'm working on right now.
Your doodle. That looks like 19 to me. It says so
yeah.
On the top.
Yeah, I finished 18. 19 is just about done. I need to add some highlights. So like to her hair braid right here. I don't know if you can see the pencil outlining between the braids, but I got to do some white highlights there. Here on this braid as well. I need to extend these cracks into the black of the pillar. Same on this one. Add some more highlights. Dog highlights to this big crash that happens here. But yeah, it's essentially done. And then I'm moving on to page 20, which a good thing and unfortunately, issue 4 is only going to be 20 pages. So it's going to be 4 pages shy of what I normally do, because I normally do 24 pages per book. But like I was telling you guys last time I was on, the next one, the final issue of this arc, is going to be issue 5, and it's going to be about 32 to 36 pages.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's going to be a bigger, heftier one, because that one's going to be dealing with a lot of her past and her last actual memories with her dad before they got separated. and then I'm going to end it with her dad's perspective. So we're actually going to see her dad, not current time, but not as a flashback either. It's going to be like a few days prior to where he's starting to finally catch up to her. So you're going to see his point of view and how he looks different than he did in her flashbacks, because he's been through some crap, because he's been trying to track her down for over a year now. So if all goes well, it's going to be a pretty emotional issue.
Wow. I'm looking forward to it.
A lot of people are. I am too, and I've let everybody down. So if I got any fans watching, I apologize. Life is crazy, but it's getting done. And then I'm looking forward to season 2. Season 2 is going to be a lot of fun.
So if you have 5 issues out, and they're usually 24 pages, that means we've got over 100, and we're by the time you're done, you're going to have 150 plus pages.
Yeah, easy. And that doesn't include like behind the scenes stuff. Let me get back to my camera here.
That's half a tankobon. I'm all excited.
A what?
A tankobon. This is about 300 pages.
Holy taka!
Right? That's half a tankobon. As a manga artist, this is the point that I sit there and like pin in on. You know, how much do I need to do? Because I actually have been doing that work too and planning out for Bellatrix. So, well,
I think what's helped me as far as like page count goes, if I would have tackled Pia before and been like, oh, this arc's going to be 100, 150 pages, it's a bigger thing, so it would have freaked me out a little bit more and made it harder for me to finish pages. Whereas if you break it down into issues, it's a little bit easier. And then you build up to that page mark, and they're like, oh, now I can do a trade paperback. Or in your case, once I finish season 2, I'll definitely be at that size.
Right.
So, I can do a compendium essentially. And then you start getting bigger stories.
We would call these graphic novels on this side.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's...
Sorry, I'm stuffing my face.
That's all right. You do you. You do you, boo. For me... I've been watching you guys who do these long runs, and that's one of the reasons why I like to do these draw-alongs and stuff like that. Actually, when I finally start to get into production on Bellatrix, I'm hoping you and I will do draw-alongs together. And you do Pia on one side, and I'll do Bellatrix on the other, and we just sit here and chat while drawing, keeping each other company, and other people can join in. That's what I'm hoping for.
I think that's so much fun.
Right, but it also keeps us on task. I'm not going to sit here and get into an argument with somebody on Facebook while you're sitting on the other side of the camera waiting for me. You know what I mean?
Which, admittedly, that's what happened to me yesterday. That's why I don't have the highlights on Pia done.
Yeah, that's what's got. So I've been working on the master document for Bellatrix, and unlike you, I like to see the whole picture and then drill down. It doesn't freak me out. For some reason, that doesn't bother me. And so I've already plotted out to the end of Bellatrix Rising, and it's 9 tankobon. So that's 9 times 300 on the final run. And that matches up with the size of, say, the first run of Battle Angel, let's say. That was 9 tankobon at about 300 pages each. And it doesn't daunt me that much, because the best part about this is once I know what's going to happen in book 9, I can make references in book 1 to it that when you reread the series, you'll be able to go back and say, oh, look, he put, I don't know, funny cars in this scene, and I wondered what those cars were all about. And in book 9, the cars are taking over the world. I don't know, I'm just making up stuff, but you get the idea.
Yeah, like you have it really plotted out and going for it. Like, I like that aspect of how you tackle that. Me, on the other hand, is like you said, I go a different route. It's not so much that whole like fleshing out the whole world is scary. To me, it's the big issues that are scary.
Right.
Do the page count, but like my whole world, like I got it fleshed out. I know what's going to happen. I don't necessarily know exactly when stuff is going to happen, but I do know when or what's going to happen in the future and what she's going to be dealing with. So I like doing it that way because it kind of leaves it open a little bit more for me. So I can kind of tweak things here and there because things change. Especially with me, I'm horrible at doing thumbnails. I'm horrible at plotting out stuff because I tend to just like pencil on the paper and just run.
Right.
So that's a whole new experience for me, is trying to learn how to tame that and actually start doing other things.
When I do that, I just make a mess. That's all I end up with, is I just end up with a disaster. So I can't do that. That's actually what happened with my last Tamerlane story. I just said, you know what? I'm going to do another Tamerlane story. Started going straight into it, and then I painted myself into a plot corner where the only thing I could do was cliche to get out of it. There was no way out of it except for a cliche. And I was like, great. That's
What's a cliche? What was a cliche?
Like I couldn't do, either Deus Ex Machina was the only way that I could solve the problem, or just they all wake up in the shower and it was a dream. Those were the only two options I had out of it. Either something that wasn't plotted in comes and saves them, or this is all a dream and they woke up in the shower, and I couldn't get out of it. I couldn't get back out of the story.
Can you say what the event was, or is it going to like ruin a lot of stuff?
Oh, no. It was, I mean, because I've abandoned the story and I don't think I'm going to revive that thread for Bellatrix. So, as a side note for all of you people who are listening, the Bellatrix Rising, I'm taking all of the stories. I've been writing Tamerlane since 2005, but I've only been putting pages together for 3 of the stories. So I had 15 or so other stories ready to go for Tamerlane, and I just never got to the point where I did them. So I have repurposed them for Bellatrix Rising. So they're all still going to be there. They're all still going to be in this story piece, but I've just changed the characters and everything like that. This story, which is The Lark and the Nightingale, didn't end up right. So I took pieces out of it, and I'm moving it all over to a Bellatrix story. But the big story arc that I had was the problem was they were running into these Tapsons who were in the middle of they had been in a Federation colony that got turned over to the Klingons when the border moved, and the Klingons completely ravaged the colony. So they're super paranoid because now the border moved back and now they're Federation again. But they hate the Federation because the Federation abandoned them. I mean, effectively, during the initial parts of the Klingon Federation War. And so there was this whole politics thing going. But the biggest problem I had was I had brought back in Cochrane's husband as a character, and ended up with Cochrane's husband coming up with this concept that the daughter was still alive, which is part of the crux of a problem with Cochrane, is that her daughter died when she was 8, when the daughter was 8. And that's what caused the rift between her and her husband. And I couldn't back out of it because now I had to either say that this Vulcan guy was insane or the daughter really lives somewhere. And I was like, well, if I did that, then I undo all of the pathos that goes with my main character. And I'm like, or I just ended up with this horrible, like, I can't. So I had to either come up with either it was all a dream and she didn't actually meet her husband, or something else has to come in and wipe out her daughter again. I was like, what did I do to myself? Why did I end up?
Necessarily. I think you can still use that.
Well,
you got to tackle with a whole new thing.
I've moved everything over to this new story arc now. In Bellatrix Rising, Chang is Cochrane because, of course, Cochrane was named after Zephyr Cochrane, which is a Star Trek character. So I had to change her to Chang, so that it was, because she also comes from, now in this instance, she comes from a Chinese colony. So it's a very important thing that she's got a very, like a Chinese fundamentalist traditionalist colony. So they worked really hard to keep all the Chinese traditions and lock it all down. Hey, Andrew, good to see you. Yeah, multiverse. So I've still added to Chang's character that her daughter died when the daughter was 8. I've still kept that aspect to her, and she's estranged from her husband. But her husband is no longer Vulcan, obviously, because there's no Vulcans in my story. He's got a different path now, which makes him estranged, which works. So I can back out of this and come back in and approach it the proper way again.
Makes sense.
So I'm doing the same thing that I was doing with Lark and the Nightingale, but in a different way now, which makes it fit a whole lot better. And doesn't remove the pathos from the character. Doesn't just solve her pathos, So that's...
I would make the argument that wouldn't solve her pathos. Like, let's say you stuck with that, with the Cochrane thing.
Right. So,
I would say it still doesn't solve it. It actually adds to it and complicates it more, because she had to deal with coping with losing her daughter at such a young age, and that affects a person. That affects a parent.
Right.
Hugely. But then to learn that they're actually alive, not only are they alive, that whole thing that you went through is not null and void, but it's still something you went through. So you feel completely different. But on top of that, you're also tackling the, wait, I've missed 20 years, essentially, of her life, kind of thing. So, I mean, I think there's a lot that you actually could have gone with as far as dealing with that,
a lot of that.
If you kept her alive.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I could have gone with a whole bunch of stuff in there, and I'm sure that's a thing. One of the things that it adds flavor, says David. One of the things though, that I really felt was when I wrote Cochrane initially, back in 2005, I didn't have a kid. And so I wrote this whole thing in there, and Cochrane's pretty much a upstanding, normal sort of individual who sometimes mourns her child. And I'm like, now that I've had a kid, I now know that Chang needs to be a lot more bonkers for her kid. And so I'm cranking up the bonkers on Chang a little bit. And adding in, because I would be, if I lost my boy, I'd be pretty upset,
Oh yeah,
especially at 8, right?
Oh God, yeah. No parent should have to go through that.
And when I originally thought this up, it actually happened because of a logic question, which was, how does a Starfleet officer have an 8-year-old child? And I'm like, well, she doesn't. Let's make it easy, because I can't have a kid running around a battle destroyer. So it was just an expediency initially of writing. In 2005, I was young and I didn't, what did I know, right? So the character was, and then later on I was like, wow, that wouldn't do Cochrane any good, though, to do that. She'd be kind of hurting from it. And so I tried to write that. But now as a parent, I'm a lot more familiar with what the feeling would be. It's a big fear. I mean, it's like you understand, it's a terrifying fear to think to lose your kid.
Oh, yeah.
So I've added a lot more pathos to Chang, and it allows me to move better with her. So backing out of Tamerlane and repurposing all these characters for Bellatrix Rising has allowed me to retcon a little bit of the story that I wanted to do anyway. So, but back to what I was saying, putting all the 9 books together as an arc has allowed me to say, at this point, I want this beat of the story for Chang, and this point, I want this beat of the story for Chang, so that she can slowly move through the series in the right way. So that's useful in a lot of ways. So and that's what I've been doing this entire week. Was working on the large beat document. It's huge, but it's got each issue spelled out, so I now know, what story is at each issue, which also helps a whole lot. I'm gonna move this back here. For example, I've got now I know in book 1, I know what chapter 1, chapter 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all going to be. So chapters are 32 pages each because it's a manga. So I run 32 pages. So each one of these chapters allows me to do like chapter 1's called The Rabbit Hunt, and it's really just pretty much an introduction to all the characters. And then chapter 2 and 3 and 4 are Methuselah Conundrum, which is a story about running into a guy who's running at high speed. So they run into the ship that's been running at high speed for 400 years or so. And so,
Okay.
But for him, it's only been about 5 years because he's been running really close to the speed of light. So,
Oh, damn.
So it's one of those things. There's a complication to the story, which, all that stuff. And then we go into Oxygen Inc., which is 5 and 6. So it's built in the Star Trek-esque storyline, but it allowed me to now see the structure of everything. But now that I do this, I can go in and say, okay, I got 6 chapters to the first book. Where are the points for each one of these characters? So that's what I'm after. David says, and I'm going to go on because we've gone off, and this is what I get onto. I get onto Pepper for this, but now here I am wandering way off into the weeds.
I don't help.
You know what?
I don't help.
Yeah, well, you love you, man. So, okay, so David was supposed to finish Doc Doctrine, and what he says is he's got the actual person on the card. Now he has to do the background for the Earth Tau character. So, I'm assuming, and Andrew was also commenting that there's an effect on the daughter all this time being separated from her mother. That is also true. There is a lot that could have been explored in that instance. But the truth is, to bring the kid back from what she died from would require science fiction. Like above and beyond my tolerance. It becomes Deus Ex Machina. We just meant that she didn't die because they administered a dirtle beeble on her when she was... And you're like, you have to come up with something to make her come back. And
her death was a lie that was plotted out by her husband.
Right, and somehow managed to make that fit with a Vulcan. How would a Vulcan manage to pull that off? It's...
He's Romulan disguised as a Vulcan.
Right. So anyway,
I think you got through, man.
Yeah, it's all good. It works a whole lot better now. This all works a whole lot better, and I've got this long plotted out, and it's good, and it works. Okay, and it also helps me because I had decided that 2 of the characters in Tamerlane were going to start a romance, but it was just arbitrary, and now I can actually back up and put those 2 characters into their romance so that it makes sense and it's logical. Instead of, hey, we're stuck together. Hey, let's just start having sex. Yeah, it sounds like a great idea. Which was just like a left turn all of a sudden in Tamerlane. And now it makes more sense and it's logical. I can plot it in and it makes they become friends, they become buddies, yada, yada, yada. It all makes sense. So I like
that's what I call it. It happens for a reason, and you actually are getting a better deal out of it. I think.
I think
the same thing kind of happened with Pia. I lost my first issue, my first Ashcan that I was doing with her.
Right.
My computer just crashed. I lost everything, so I had to redo it. I actually ended up with a better story. So
sure.
There's that.
That's exactly what's happening here. I'm ending up with a much better story on these things. I know that these 2 characters, the voices of these 2 characters in my head said that they were together as a pair, as a couple. So it made sense. But it doesn't make sense if you read the storylines. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense if you read the comics. It won't make any sense because there was no groundwork laid. So it's right for these 2 to be together. But it's still kind of weird. I don't know. So I like this better. I can actually plot it in and everything.
No, that makes sense.
So, Raph, you're doing page 20 this week, right?
Yes. So I will have page 20 done by next week.
Anything else you wanted to put on that to-do list?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out a good time for my Twitch.
Yeah.
Like a good day and a good time for it. I don't know how many people are in this chat room, but if anybody has to throw any ideas out. The problem I'm running into is the job I have. I work every other Saturday. I have my kids every other Saturday. So I thought about Saturday, and I was like, well, I can do it Saturday night, because even though I work every other Saturday, I definitely have the nights off. The problem is I have my kids every other Saturday too.
Right.
So, I don't want to be working while I have them.
No, that's fair.
And then my schedule, because of COVID, is all over the place now. Once I'm allowed to go back to work, because I'm still not back at work right now. But once I'm back allowed, I may have Wednesdays freeze or Fridays or something like that. So I'm still trying to figure that out. But I figure if anybody's got any advice or anything, maybe they can toss it my way. And at worst case, maybe I can just request a certain day off and make sure I always have that day.
Right. And that would be good.
Oh, and then I'm also juggling Christina's work, because I got to take care of kiddo.
Right. Well, and that's another thing to think about is, like, you and I could work together and, and stuff like that. And I that's the thing. Broadcasting every day at 10 o'clock has been really good for me. Not only have I been hanging out with Andrew and David and Brent, but it's been really tying me down. We didn't start on time because Raphael's talkative. It's Russ's fault. I blame him.
What? I just want to know if Kai is getting online, and if so,
he's getting online in 15 minutes.
Okay, and you're going to be ready for that.
Yeah, I'll be clear from here in 15 minutes.
Okay.
So that gives us a rough time hack there. We've got to finish this by then. Okay. Hey, what about Sci-Fi Duck?
Oh, Sif Duck.
Stiff Duck.
Siffy Duck. I was working on my duck, and I don't like it yet, so I got to tweak it some more.
Yeah, I didn't like my duck either. Our first ducks didn't come out right.
Yeah, I was trying to go out with a
duck.
sci-fi look, so I was trying to make him look like an astronaut type deal, but I didn't like the way he was coming out, so I want to do him over.
So if all of you guys are wondering what we're talking about, we've started a page called Quasar Art Collective, Quack. And all it really is it's all the things that we used to do with Red Team Go, except without all of the publishing side nonsense. Help other artists, post your work, promote your work, that kind of stuff for small guys like Raph and me. Not Marvel. So we're doing that, but we want to come up with logos for it. So that's what we're doing now. Come up with logos for it. So,
yeah, let's add that on my list. Let's have those done by next week.
Yeah, let's get the ducks done. You and me both had that on our list, and neither one of us liked our ducks. So, quack ducks. Since you can do 2 pages in a week, so I think that having page 20 clear should be enough.
Yeah, I was more like what? I can do 2 pages in a week.
Well, you did 19 and 20, or 18 and 19.
Well, 18 was practically done.
Oh,
the last time I showed you guys. I don't know where I put 18. I think I put that one away to safekeeping. But
I'm going to have to do much more than 1 page a week, though. I already see this. So
yeah, it's tough, man.
I know. I'm thinking if I were to dedicate 3 of my work days to drawing, it'll be a lot easier. I also will ash can the entire thing, so that I won't have to. And then I'll rely heavily on 3D rendering too. That'll cut a lot of it down.
Lucky.
Yeah, well, I'll give tutorials on it. But if I make a 3D model of all my characters, then it should cut that down quite a bit. So it won't be difficult. So, okay. So you've got Quack and the duck go quack. For me, I had 50 strips. My wife is helping me edit, so there's some like weird lag between this. And I was supposed to fix the website, and I didn't do that. 3D assets. Now, that's the only one that I did do right. So you guys have probably been following me online. I've been working on the Kittiwake, which is the hero ship. So today I really figured out how the bridge looks, because the bridge is kind of a wild shape inside the ship. So I built up the bridge correctly, and it's really cool looking, and I like it. And so now I'm going to build up the 3D asset in the next week. So that will be my next thing, 3D asset bridge. And that'll be what I want to do next week. And then I'm going to hold on the strips for right now until I know what my wife is doing with them. So we'll figure that out. Because I don't want to hold her feet to the fire. She's being nice to me. So
she's tolerating you. Don't do that to her.
She's tolerating me. So, but the website, I've got to figure out what's wrong with my website. So that's on there. So those are my goals for next week. David,
can I add one to that?
Huh?
Can I add one to that?
Yeah.
Springs.
That's the strips.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's the strips I got to do.
You didn't say spring, so I didn't realize that.
Spring strips. Yeah, so that's our strips. I'm trying to get through 50 strips a week of editing and clean up. It actually takes a lot longer than I thought to do these things, to clean them up. Because some of these old ones I drew in 2000, so they're already 20 years old, and I drew them on Bristol board and scanned them in, and so background for the character for David. David saying.
Why didn't he join in on this stream?
I don't know. He's that way. So.
Did you not send him a link?
No, I don't like him.
That's just rude, man.
No, actually, I think we talked about this last week with David, and I was like, hey, you want to join? And he's like, no, I don't want to. And so, okay.
I don't blame him. I don't like having my ugly mug on here.
Yeah, well.
Hence the reason I have the camera on my art.
Start Lord Discordant, he also says, so he's going to start that. Cool. Love the fact that he is chewing through Earth Tau cards.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about hitting those guys up again. I took a little bit of sabbatical from them, but
they love what they're. So I've been doing cards for these guys over and over and over, and they're like, we love the fact that you're really into doing cards, but right now, guy, like 80% of our cards are you. So. So
maybe I'll hit them up, give them a little diversity in art.
Right, they need some diversity. It's all guy style in here right now. I've even tried to like change up my style and like do like this card here, which is all like painted and stuff like that. But even then, it was yes. I like to make everybody stare at me, Matt. So I think I'm beautiful.
You are a pretty man.
Yeah. So anyway, okay. There we go. Okay, my dear friend, I think that's all we got. Anybody else on the stream over here want to pop in and make a goal for next week? You can join us. So go on ahead and just say, my goal is to blah, and I'll write it down and then put you in for next week. I'm also kind of hoping, because I'm getting really close to tightening up the large arc on Bellatrix, I'm hoping to. Why, thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. He says everybody thinks I'm beautiful. It's the long silvery locks, which I have, which I'm.
We should start calling you Daenerys.
Right. I'm the mother of dragons. So,
You need to start doing these shows again with the dragon on your shoulder.
exactly. It'd be cool. You got to admit. I drew a dragon this week because Andrew commissioned me to draw a dragon, which was actually a dinosaur dragon, and it was a lot of fun, and I had a lot of fun drawing it. So,
Andrew is Andrew that I know.
maybe no, Andrew is a different Andrew. Battle Cats fan art. Okay, you're on, man. I've got. David says he's going to finish the background for his current card. He's starting Lord Discordant, which is his second card, and then the Battle Cats fan art, which he also has to do. So those are his goals. You've got page 20 and the Ducks Quack. I've got a 3D. I'm going to build up the bridge, and I've got to fix my website, and I've also got Ducks Quack.
I've got a couple actual sketch covers I need to do as well that got commissioned. Unfortunately, I can't show all of those on here.
Right. I understand. It's kind of fun whenever I work on things. So, yeah, Andrew thinks he may have met you, but you're not fully acquainted. So this is a different Andrew, which is fine.
One of those quick con meets.
Yeah, you know how that goes.
Yep.
We work the conventions and things get into that zone. So, okay, well, I think that's pretty much good. We've set our goals, and I've got 9 minutes before I've got to put my kid on reading. So, I'm going to set these goals up on my monitor so that I can see them. And then I guess I'll keep this until I see Pepper again next week, because he didn't finish his goals up. So, okay, Raph, thanks for joining me, bud.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we'll be. Lord Discordant is a Warhammer mini. Oh, okay, well, there you go. You do the Warhammer minis. So, cool. Well, then, I will see all of you guys next week, and I hope I will see you as well, Raph.
Yeah, I have Friday off again because I'm still locked up at home. So I should be able to get on.
Excellent. See you guys all then. And until next week, we will be here then. And I'll see everybody who wants to join me Monday morning at 10 a.m. for drawing, and I'll be here as well. Okay, bye.